Once upon a time, an island known as Nagale was inhabited by serpents, and Kalia was one of the chief serpents there. Being accustomed to eating snakes, Garuda used to come to this island and kill many serpents at will. The reptile society became so disturbed that their leader, Vasuki, appealed to Lord Brahma for protection.
Lord Brahma, we are troubled by the mighty eagle Garuda. Please save us.
Dear Vasuki, I understand your predicament, but Garuda needs his food as well. Serpents are his natural diet.
O Lord, why should we sacrifice our lives merely to fill Garuda's belly? If he is as rampant, the whole serpent society will become exhausted someday.
Alright, let us settle in an amicable way. On each half moon day, you must keep a serpent underneath a tree as a sacrificial offering to Garuda. Garuda will be satisfied with this offering, and therefore he will not disturb you.
Thank you, Lord Brahma. This appears like a very balanced deal.
This system of sacrifice continued for some days. But later, Kalia, unnecessarily puffed up by the volume of his accumulated poison as well as by his material power, censured Garuda for his behavior.
Why should Garuda be offered this sacrifice? Let me devour the offerings meant for Garuda.
Oh, what impudence from Kalia! He is eating all the offerings. He deserves to learn a lesson. Wicked Kalia, I banish you from these waters. The poison that bubbles thick in your mind and your fangs are a fatal threat to the peace and joy of these beautiful shores. Leave instantly and never return.
Dear wives, this place is not safe for our residents. Let's go and take a resort to the lake in Yamuna. Garuda cannot approach that place.
Why do you think so? What stops Garuda from coming to that lake in Yamuna river?
Once when Shobri Muni was meditating within the water of Yamuna, Garuda happened to catch a fish from the lake to eat. Shobri Muni was sympathetic with the fish. He asked Garuda not to come there and disturb the fish. So Garuda, instead of staying and eating many fish, carried off one big fish, who was their leader. Shobri Muni was sorry that one of the leaders of the fish was taken away by Garuda. And thinking of their protection, he cursed Garuda. If Garuda comes again to the lake of Yamuna, he would immediately die.
That's very reassuring. All glories to Sabrimuni. Come, let's go. I will touch Krishna first. No way, I'm touching Krishna first.
None of you can touch me. I am running away.
Alright, boys, time to go home. Our mothers will be waiting for us.
When Krishna and Balaram entered the village of Vrindavan, along with their friends, they played their flutes and the boys praised their uncommon activities in the forest. Their faces were decorated with tilak and smeared with the dust raised by the cows, and Krishna's head was decorated with a peacock feather.
Hey, look! Krishna and Balaram are back. Our life has also returned to our bodies.
All the gopis in Vrindavan remained very morose on the account of Krishna's absence. All day they were thinking of Krishna in the forest, herding cows in the pasture. When they saw Krishna returning, all their anxieties were immediately relieved, and they began to look at his face the way drones hover over the honey of the lotus flower.
Krishna, look at your face. It appears that all the dust from the Yamuna banks have been deposited on your cheeks. Balaram, please take care of your little brother while you both are out herding.
Yes, Mother. My eyes never deviate from the lotus face of Krishna Chandra. His face is the king of all moons.
Yashoda and Rohini took care of their children by bathing them and dressing them very nicely. Krishna was dressed in yellowish garments and Balarama was dressed in bluish garments, and they were given all sorts of ornaments and flower garlands. Being relieved of the fatigue of their day's work in the pasturing ground, they looked refreshed and very beautiful. Gradually, the summer season arrived. Krishna went to the forest along with the boys and cows.
Krishna, the sun is beaming fire on us today. Look how hot the whole Vrindavan has become. We will all park for some time and drink the soothing water from Yamuna.
Within the river Yamuna, there was a great lake, and in that lake, the black serpent Kalia used to live. Because of his poison, the whole area was so contaminated that it emanated a poisonous vapor 24 hours a day. If a bird happened to even pass over the spot, it would immediately die and fall down into the water. Due to the poisonous effect of the Yamuna's vapors, the trees and grass near the bank of the Yamuna had all dried up.
Sudama, Madhu, Subala, where are you all? Hamsi, Lakshmi, where did you all go away? It's late. Let's return to Vrindavan.
Because the water was so poisonous, the boys and cows became visibly affected immediately after drinking. They suddenly fell down on the ground, apparently dead.
You notorious Kalia! How dare you poison my dear friends and cattle? You wicked snake! You have only befallen great danger unto yourself. Here I come!
Krishna climbed up into a big Kadamba tree on the bank of the Yamuna. He tightened his belt cloth and, slapping his arms just like a wrestler, jumped into the midst of the poisonous lake.
Kalia! You have made this lake poisonous. Prepare to die this instant. Oh my dear Krishna! 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 Where are you?
Yashoda!
I have to save Krishna.
Wait, Father, it is too dangerous. Today Krishna is surely gonna be vanquished.
Alright, Kalia. Let's finish the game now. My devotees are anxious for me.
You have no idea of my strength, little boy. Your devotees will be relieved when they see your skin turn pale when my poison enters your veins.
For 2 hours, Krishna remained like an ordinary child, gripped in the coils of Kali. But when he saw that all the inhabitants of Gokula, including his mother and father, the gopis, the boys, and the cows, were just on the point of death, and that they had no shelter for salvation from imminent death, Krishna immediately freed himself. As Krishna and Kalia moved in a circle, the serpent gradually became fatigued, and his strength seemed to diminish considerably. Krishna immediately pressed down the serpent's hoods and jumped upon them. Then he, who is the original artist of all fine arts, such as dancing, began to dance upon the hoods of the serpent, although he was moving to and fro.
శిరసి చలనం చలనం ధృదనం ఇదనం హృదనం ఇద చంద్రవదంగ కంకణ కించితనంగననం పదరదరదరిమిదిమి జణు జణుదాం తదాతురిల్లానగనగ భూషణ్ తగిడ తగస్ కడాయ బుధకర మందస్.
All glories to Lord Krishna. All glories. Jai, Jai, Jai.
Time for the final blow. I will miss you, Kalia. Any final words?
Oh Krishna, please don't kill him. Please have mercy on our husband Kalia.
He is defeated in body and in spirit.
Krishna, you have forced all the poison out of him and he is no longer a threat.
Get up, Kalia. I am very pleased by the devotion displayed by your wives, the Nagapatnis.
I beg your forgiveness, Krishna. My venom was poisoning my mind. So now I can see more clearly. You have helped me to see that I was blinded by my hate and anger.
Very well. I will forgive you, Kalia, provided you will go off to the ocean and never return to Vrindavan again.
But Krishna, without his venom, is helpless. How will he protect us from danger?
Krishna, we fear for his life and ours. He angered the mighty eagle Garuda.
Garuda will never harm him when he sees my footprints on his heads.
The inhabitants of Vrindavan, including the cowherd boys and men, the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Rohini, Maharaj Nanda, and all the cows and calves, saw Krishna coming from the Yamuna, and it was as though they had recovered their very life. They each in turn pressed Krishna to their chest and embraced him.
Oh Krishna, Krishna, you have come back.
I am back, Mother. I was just having a long swim.
You are so mysterious, my child, but I have no need to understand you. You are my dearest, darling Krishna.